You know, in our digital world, every single click, every login, every little transaction, it all creates data. We're talking mountains of it. So today, we're going to dive into Splunk, which is a leading solution that's designed to make sense of all that machine-generated chaos. So think about this for a second. How would you find one single error message from a web server that's spitting out millions of log entries an hour? I mean, that's the core problem Splunk was built to solve. It helps you navigate the completely overwhelming real-time data that all of our servers, applications, and devices are constantly generating. And this is exactly where a category of tools called a SIM comes in. A SIM, that stands for Security Information and Event Management, basically acts like a central nervous system for a company's entire IT environment. It collects and analyzes all that data, and Splunk, well, it's one of the most powerful tools out there in the space. It gives you the visibility you need to speed up everything from just troubleshooting a problem to full-on threat detection. So, how in the world does Splunk manage to tame all this chaos? Well, to really understand its power, we've got to follow the journey of just one single piece of data as it travels through the system. We're going to go from a raw log file all the way to a critical, actionable insight. Okay, so the journey starts with something called the Splunk forwarder. The best way to think of this is like a tiny, super efficient mail carrier. It's a lightweight little agent that you install on the machines you want to monitor. You know, your web servers, your desktops. Its only job is to collect data and send it on its way. And it does it all without slowing things down. The next stop for our data is the indexer. Now, if the forwarder is the mail carrier, the indexer is the master librarian. And believe me, this is where the real magic happens. It takes all that raw, messy data, processes it, and breaks it down into searchable fields. It's kind of like creating a super detailed index for a book. This step is what turns a chaotic stream of text into structured, searchable events. And the final piece of this puzzle is the search head. This is your command center. It's the interface where you get to ask incredibly specific questions of your data using Splunk's own powerful search processing language, or SPL. You could ask something like, hey, show me all the failed login attempts from outside the country in the last 24 hours. And boom, the search head gives you back the answers in tables, charts, and all sorts of cool visualizations. And that brings us right here to this simple but incredibly powerful three-step journey. You can see it right here. The forwarder collects the data. The indexer processes and stores it, and the search head lets you search and analyze it. Collect, process, analyze. That is the core of how Splunk works, right there. Okay, now that we kind of get the engine running behind the scenes, let's take a look at the driver's seat, the Splunk dashboard. This is your command center for all of this data. Right at the very top of the screen, you're going to see the Splunk bar. This is your main navigation hub. From here, you can do pretty much everything. Manage system settings, check on who's running what search jobs, get help from the documentation, and of course, switch between all your different Splunk apps. The home screen itself is broken down into a few key spots. You've got the Apps panel, which shows you all your installed applications, things like specialized dashboards for security or web analytics. The Explore Splunk section gives you some handy quick links. And the main home dashboard, that's where you can pin your own custom visualizations for those really critical at-a-glance insights. All right, so we've seen the architecture and the interface. But a powerful engine is pretty useless without any fuel, right? So let's talk about how we actually get data into Splunk. You know, one of Splunk's greatest strengths is just how flexible it is. It can ingest data from almost anywhere. Seriously, we're talking web server logs, Windows security events, firewall logs, database connection requests. I mean, basically, if a machine in your network generates a log file, chances are Splunk can read it. And the process of getting that data in is designed to be incredibly straightforward. For just a basic file upload, it's literally 5 simple steps. You select your source file, you tell Splunk what kind of data it is, you assign it to an index, you give everything a quick review, and that's it. You're done. Your data is now in the system and ready to be searched. Okay, that was a really quick tour of a very powerful platform, I know. So let's wrap up by just boiling this all down to the most important things you really need to remember from this explainer. First and foremost, remember the 3 distinct roles. The forwarder is your data collector. The indexer is the organizer. And the search head is where you get to explore and ask all your questions. So collector, organizer, explorer. Simple as that. This quote from the official documentation, it just captures the power of the indexer perfectly. See, Splunk isn't just storing raw text files. No way.
It's actively processing and transforming that data into intelligent, structured events that you can actually use. That's the key difference.
So if you remember nothing else from all this, just remember the number 3. 3 core components: forwarder, indexer, and search head, all working together to turn a massive flood of data into clear, searchable answers. And really, that brings us to the final thought here. A platform like this gives you the incredible power to search across all of your machine data instantly. It basically removes the haystack and just leaves you with the needle. So the only question left is, what would you ask first?